Today is the opening day for the Dallas Mavericks. They got Wemby. We're not going to do a deep dive into Mavericks here because we did a huge Mavs special, our Soaktacular, which we want all of you to go find it on YouTube and watch it. We've also got some great content that we did with Mavs Studio 41 with our new podcast called Poor Spacing. And so I'd like for you to promote all that, but I would just love to get your thoughts going into the season opener and having the challenge of going up against Wemby.
Yeah, this is really exciting, man. The expectations are through the roof, and they should be. This team got to the finals and on paper got better. The problem for the Mavericks is that the Western Conference is ridiculous, man. I was watching that Clippers game last night, and the Clippers were playing the Suns, and those are two teams that people kind of wrote off, and I'm like, those are good teams, man. It went into overtime. Memphis barely beat Utah. That's a team that could jump to the top or stay out of the mix. And then you have Denver, you have Minnesota, and you have Oklahoma City, which appears to be everyone's favorite to win the West. And then here's San Antonio with the best player to come into the league since LeBron. No offense, Luka fans. And I'm not saying Luka's not the MVP or not the best player, but he was the third pick. He did not come into the league with the expectations that LeBron and Wemby had. And if you watched any of the Olympics and saw Team France, that guy is the future of basketball. And the only thing that can derail him from dominating the sport is injury. He's special. I think we've told this story before where we went to Dirk's Hall of Fame and Holger's sitting there showing me Wemby videos on his phone. And just talking about if he develops a skyhook, it will be the single most unstoppable shot in the history of basketball. He's spectacular. The Spurs are better. Are they good enough to get into the playoff mix? That all remains to be seen. But he's a game-changing player. And I know we tend to watch offense more than defense. You watch what he does on defense. I'm not talking about even on the ball. I'm just talking about people will go to his space and they just, okay, I don't have a shot here because that guy is 8 feet away from me. It's astonishing. But the Mavericks are a way better basketball team right now, and they have an MVP candidate in Luka. They've added Clay. So expectations for tonight are through the roof. I'm excited, even though it's a TNT game. I'm going to actually go as a fan. I'm taking my son, and we're going to enjoy NBA basketball in the American Airlines Center with the Dallas Mavericks, the returning Western Conference champions.
Love it. And again, we're not doing a deep dive here on the Mavs because we did an entire season preview special. You can find it on YouTube. It wasn't a live stream. It's our season Soaktacular. And we're also doing Poor Spacing. And that's with Studio 41 in the Dallas Mavericks. So how can people go find our sit down with Kyrie?
Yeah, so this is really exciting. If you haven't had a chance to watch our Soaktacular Mavs season preview, we did that. It dropped on Monday night, and it was an hour and a half season preview. We brought on our buddy Slightly Biased. I saw a couple people in the comment section that have watched already. Thank you, good friends. Spread the vibes on that. That's a great way. Like if you want to go Mav heavy, hell, as soon as we're done soaking, you fire that up. That's on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, the thing that we're super excited about as well in terms of steady Mav content for you all year long is every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. The Ben and Skin Show is teamed up with Studio 41, which is the Mavericks content hub. They have great shows like Take That With You with Damaris and Followell. They have a brand new show called Round Ball Talk with our buddy Machine and Jake from the Dumb Zone. And I think you'll be seeing special contributions on that show from one KT Fun Tweets, who you can hear every day from 3 to 6 on the Ben and Skin Show on 97.1 The Eagle, the home of Dallas Mavericks basketball. But we dropped our first episode of Poor Spacing yesterday at 6 o'clock, and you can find that at Mavericks YouTube. It's the Dallas Mavericks YouTube channel. It's at Mavericks on YouTube. They have tons of great content. It hadn't even been 24 hours since that dropped, and I saw that it's already closing in on 2,000 views. If you haven't seen that yet, you absolutely want to see it. And to kind of put you in the right frame of mind for that, our buddy Jason that produces this is now going to show you a little teaser from Mavs Studio 41 that was airing on their Instagram or running on their Instagram. Watch this.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ben from the Ben and Skin Show, inviting you to check out our first episode of Poor Spacing at Mavs Studio 41. You'll find out why I brought these shoes to the set. Look at these things. They're pieces of art. This is art in my hands right here. And we did an interview with a guy who, this is his signature shoe, Kyrie Irving. So be sure to check out our exclusive interview with Kai. Find out what we said about these shoes, because we did visit about these shoes and some others. Check it out at Studio 41. It is Poor Spacing.
Bam. That was really great, man. We did do a season preview there, and there's certain benchmarks that we'll do every week on Poor Spacing. It'll be different than what we're doing here on the Super Soaker. And obviously we'll talk Mavs on the Ben and Skin Show on the Eagle, and we'll talk Mavs on this right here every Tuesday and Thursday. But that'll be a full show every Wednesday at 6:00 dedicated to the Mavericks. And the reason you have to watch what we did yesterday, and you can watch it at any time, watch it this weekend, watch it whenever you want. But it was supposed to be an 8-minute, 9-minute sit down with Kyrie Irving that lasted 20 minutes because Kyrie was into it. And it ended with an amazing connection between Kyrie and Ben that ties into his shoes and how his shoes have impacted Ben and Ben's family. And it's awesome stuff. Anybody who has seen it has already commented on it and loves it. And I think you would be remiss if you didn't carve out some time this weekend to watch Poor Spacing on the Mavericks YouTube channel. I think you will really, really like it.
And I just want to say this. You are so good at that. Like the TV stuff, the Mav stuff, you make it all look super easy. And this is a perfect example of that. The Kyrie interview came together kind of late because, dude, it's a huge honor to get that interview. And I think we got it because you have a spectacular relationship with him. And he understands that, what you're all about. And so he knows it's going to be a good interview. And so I also want to choose words so carefully with him because he chooses his words carefully. And I don't know, I was just deeply respectful of the opportunity, and I just didn't want to screw it up. And so, in prepping for it, looking at, some of the questions and content we were going to go over, I was like, man, I'm probably not going to have time to memorize this. I might have to wing it a little bit. I don't want to wing it too much. And so I'm super nervous going into it. And he helped with that. Like, he's so nice and kind and like genuine. And it's very disarming because it's like very, like the minute he walked in, he saw you, he dapped you up, huge smile. He's so happy to see you. And then he saw me and he was like, he didn't like leave or anything, but he was like, okay, what is this? And you explained that we've been friends since the 80s.
Yeah.
And he suddenly was cool with that. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. Because he could relate to having friends for a long time. And he was at ease with that. And then I think when he realized that, we'd actually purchased his shoes and talked about how much we loved that experience, and then talking about the tie-in to my daughter, who's a point guard, and her wanting to rock some of those shoes. It was just really special, man. I think it was one of my favorite interviews I've ever been a part of. And so thank you for making it happen. But, dude, you make all that look so easy. It's not easy. The whole time I was just sitting there going, is this camera getting my full belly right now? Do I look pregnant? I'm kind of sweating. I'm worried about the question I'm going to ask. One of my friends was like, dude, you were fidgeting so much. That's the most nervous I've ever seen you.
Well, that's funny, and I think with him, it's like he's been through so much in terms of negative interaction with the media that you want to do right by him, right?
Yeah.
You want him to feel comfortable. And like the thing that I would equate it to, if you've ever been involved in art, like if you've ever been involved in making a film, or if you've ever recorded music and you care about what you're doing, more than likely you put a lot of thought into it. There's this funny phrase. It's a lot of different people take credit for it. Martin Mull gets credit for it somehow. But the phrase is, talking about music is like dancing about architecture. And the idea is like, you're not supposed to talk about music. You're supposed to listen and dance to it. Well, people that make music, for the most part, some, not everyone, but they put a lot of thought into what they're doing. They make decisions for a reason. And everything you do when you're creating art, for a lot of people, is purposeful. And so if someone starts asking you about the decisions you made, you're like, oh shit, they paid attention. They actually engaged with it. That's amazing. That makes me feel good. They put time into listening. I put time into creating it. And when you started telling the story to Kyrie about opening up the shoes and looking at the shoes and examining it and then reading the stuff, and he lit up because he put a lot of thought into that. He didn't just go into a marketing meeting and go, cool shoes. Yeah, get them out there. He was like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. This means this. This means this. And when you put your heart and soul in something, you want whoever is engaging with that to actually engage with it, not just let it wash over them and move on. And so when you showed him how much you had engaged with what he was involved in creating as a creator, and I think he sees himself as a creator, obviously on the basketball floor, but also with his fashion, with what he's doing with his brands. I know I've been told, I've talked to him about it, but he's way into music. He's also like some of the shoes that we talk about, they're skater shoes or skateboard shoes. I know he's in the skate culture. Like, he cares about that stuff and he infuses it into the things that he does. And so he will always remember you because you showed him that you engaged thoughtfully with what he had put a lot of time and energy into. And that's all a creator really asks for from an audience. And it was really, really neat to watch all that. I loved it, man.
Yeah, you're right. Because we feel the same way. Like when we interact with listeners who really engage with it and we put thought into this and they understand, you're right. That is a good way to put that. Okay, I like this. I like this comment. That shirt wasn't flattering for me. It wasn't that the shirt wasn't flattering. It's that my body's not flattering. It just looked like I had a fanny pack of Jell-O on, and I knew
No, it didn't.
I knew when I went in there and I saw the chairs, I knew what was going to happen. I knew we were in for that again.
Is that why you requested that we do that in hammocks?
I knew it was going to be a belly cam. I knew I was in for that. But if anything, it's like those really painful personal situations lead to growth, and maybe it'll lead me to lose the belly. But you make all that look so easy. It's so impressive. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, I've had time for this interview. I knew it was coming. I've had a day or whatever. I've looked at the questions. I've had time to collect my thoughts. And I still thought it was challenging. Like I didn't see Kyrie reacting because I blacked out like Will Ferrell in the debate, in Old School. I was like, what happened? But then I started thinking, God, how hard would it be to do this on live TV seconds after the end of a game? And I was like, that's got to be, don't you think that, I mean, you're really good at that, but don't you think that's even harder?
Yeah, I think it's really hard on the athlete. Because of, just what is happening to your body when you're exerting all that energy in that pressure situation, and the physical reaction in your body also impacts the mental. I heard David Thorpe was doing a podcast. He's done a lot of stuff on ESPN and True Hoop, and he's one of those skills guys. Like, he works with players, player development. Like, famously, he worked with Kevin Martin, for example. And I heard him talking about, do you remember the turnover in the finals when an OG veteran, a guy that he had played his whole career and he was trying to finally win the finals, talking about Al Horford. He had won national championships in college, had gotten there, but had never won the finals. And he's in a finals game, and he's one of the smartest, most cerebral players of the last 20 years at any position. He's a very smart player. And he got a steal in a game that they were up in Dallas and started wildly dribbling down the floor and turned the ball over and gave the Mavericks another chance. And now this is a veteran guy. And I heard David Thorpe talking about that, and he started talking about what happens to your brain, the chemical reaction in your brain in those moments when all that adrenaline is going and your body is reacting to the moment. And he explained it in a way that I was like, wow, I have never once considered that. And then it made me appreciate people like Michael Jordan and Kobe and Dirk even more, that they can manage that aspect of how their physical and their mental and their emotional all come together in those, those super pressurized moments, right? And so I don't. Oh yeah. And so, anyways, I think like right after a game, especially if you hit a game winner, that's a really difficult time to talk about what just happened, right? And I think also, you have to. I always make this joke. I understand why people do it, but the whole sticking a mic in someone's face and saying, "Talk about that last play," like you're kind of sending a signal to the player. And I've seen Rick Carlisle like chew a person's ass out over this, but like you didn't even take the time to think out a real question. You just walked up and made an imperative statement and stuck a mic in my face. Like, think about what I just went through. Can you not do your fucking job? And so I always try to like, as the game's going on, I try to think of some things I can ask later, but especially in that final 3 or 4 minutes. And sometimes something exhilarating just happened and I end up doing a shitty job and I regret it because those moments are fleeting, right? There was one time, think about this. I had people that killed me on social media because Jaden Hardy, it was the first time we had interviewed him in the regular season and I butchered his name. It's not that I didn't know his name. I fucking just watched him play, but my mouth fucked up and I said Jaden Hardy. And man, it's like like one person even said that was the moment in his life he had always been waiting for, and you just ruined it. And like I took that to heart, man. I felt really bad about that. I knew his name. I fucked up. And it happened on live TV. Those things happen.
What'd you say? How'd you say it?
I said Jaden Harden.
Oh, okay.
I said we're here with Jaden Harden, and then I kind of paused and like, oh fuck, I just said his name wrong, and then corrected myself.
You caught it? You corrected it?
As soon as I'd have to go back and watch it. I know I got it right at the end, but as soon as it came out of my mouth, I went, oh shit, I just said his name wrong.
Got it.
Like I knew it immediately.
I would do that every time. I would do that every single. I'm here with Kyle Irving.
It's just one of those things where like, there's a lot going on, but also like even phonetically, like the name is. I wasn't confusing him with James Harden, but James Harden's a name we've said a million times, right? Jaden's name is close to that. So it just fucked up, but it happens. But then I did feel the responsibility of, man, that's not the way that guy wanted that to go. That's embarrassing for him. And I felt bad about it, but that's the way it goes, man. You got to move on to the next one. And so you always are thoughtful in regard of, I want this person to enjoy this experience because we just enjoyed that experience. Otherwise we wouldn't be interviewing him,
So at 10:05 today, we got a text from Travis Frederick.
Okay.
And he said, what in the world is a super soaker?
Well,
then he texted us a picture of him watching. Then he put this in the comments. Look at the comment. Talk about are the worst words that can come from a media member.
He's a very smart, thoughtful person. And so when you say talk about, you're sending a signal to whoever you're interviewing. I have not spent enough time thinking about this to even craft a fucking question.
Yeah.
It's so lazy. Now, I will say this. I don't think it's the sideline reporter's fault or the play-by-play person's fault, because obviously somewhere along the line, some consultant told someone to do that because there's so many people doing it.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm just like, God, that's lazy. Like, even put it in the form of a question. You're giving someone a command. Talk about this. What? What do you mean talk about it? Like, within what context? What are we doing? Just pour all my thoughts out about some topic? Like, what are you asking me to do? What are you telling me to do?
I'm not qualified for my job at all, and I'm definitely not qualified for your job. But they're all the things that are going through my head. I'm thinking about too much shit. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking about too much, and then it just ends up being a really mediocre effort. But dude, it's awesome to have Travis. Now Travis knows what this is.
He's stuck.
So when we invite him to come join us and be a guest on this thing, he will. I mean, obviously, his schedule is insanely busy. He won't have time for it, but he'll at least know what we're inviting him to.
Yeah, because So we probably unfairly asked Travis Frederick to do too much that impacts our world, like in a positive way. Hey, Travis, could you do this? Could you do this? And also understand he very much knows that his association with us can only damage everything he's worked so hard for in his life. So when we request something like, hey, be a part of the Super Soaker, his first thought is, why? That's going to be really bad for me, man. I don't really need to do that. But thank you. You guys are nice.
Yes, we ask way too much of the people we have contact with, and we shouldn't even have it. And so thank you for everything, Travis. Now look at this comment.
Okay, she's amazing. I've told you this, Ben. We need to have Dana on this.
Yes.
I'm not just saying this because I've told this to you and you can back this up. And I've told this to Dana. Dana is far and away the best of anybody I've ever worked with. No offense to Ben, no offense to Followell, who's amazing. But I'm telling you, after a game, how insane it is when fans are walking back and behind you. And Spurs will walk, fans go, Wemby! Wemby! And you have these shitty earpieces in, and you're trying. It is like, to me, what Dana does, I always equate it to the scene in Platoon. There's two bad guys, and there's one bad guy and there's one good guy. There's Willem Dafoe, and then I forget the name of the other guy that's the bad guy. And you remember that scene when he's casually walking through gunfire in Vietnam because he wants to go yell at somebody and there's bullets whizzing around and he doesn't even know the bullets are whizzing around? That's Dana Larson. There is so much insanity going on. Dude, they start every one of their shows. You're 30 seconds into the show, and then suddenly Chris Arnold is yelling at the top of his lungs. It's not Chris's fault.
Yeah.
This is the timing of how it goes down. And to have the ability to navigate that traffic with all that chaos, and you have never seen Dana Larson mess up. And sometimes there's a producer in your ear, and for me, I can't hear what they're saying.
Right.
I know they're giving me an instruction, and I don't know what it is, and you're on live TV. You've never seen her mess up. She is the absolute best, dude.
Got to see her. Was that yesterday? It's all falling. It's all
Tuesday when we went to go interview Kyrie.
Got to see her, and she is, first of all, you're like staring at a movie star. You're like, and she's so nice and kind and thoughtful. Like when you're talking, I just want to say this: anybody who has seen Dana Larson do what she does with Skin and all the Mavericks organization, if you ever meet her in person, she's even nicer than you would ever imagine. Like she's a genuine, kind, thoughtful human being. Anytime she'll stop and talk to me when I'll see her, and she's, legitimately interested, and she's not trying to hurry away, though, she's got a million things to do. Like, I am so impressed by her. Obviously, she is a phenomenal broadcaster. What she does professionally is incredible, but somehow it might even be possible that she's even a better human being. Like, what a nice, kind person. Huge fan.
Everybody that works with Dana loves Dana. She is the best. And I can't believe she's wasting her time with this shit on a Thursday morning.
You don't have time for this, Dana. You do not have time for this.
And I can't believe Travis is wasting his time. My God, what is happening with the Super Soaker?
He whale sharked it and left. There's no way Travis is still here. Now, whale sharking we made up this term because it's what
you made this up, and it's genius. I love this.
The whale shark, Wade Phillips whale sharked us. And to me, whale sharking is when, the whale shark is a formidable thing in the ocean. It doesn't need to be scared of anyone. But if it wants to see what you are, if you're just on a surfboard, a whale shark, here's you on a surfboard, a whale shark will come up like this, fearless, to just see what you are and then leave. Like other things would maybe be scared of that and they wouldn't get near the surfboard. A whale shark gets right up to it and is like, and then leaves. And so that's what Wade Phillips did. He did that to us. He'd walk around us, be close enough to listen to us, but he didn't engage with us, and he's right by us. And I think that's what Travis did. I think Travis was like, what is a Super Soaker? And so he came in. I think there's no way in hell. Travis Frederick, if you're still here. Now, and you know what?
Don't put him on the spot.
He ain't here. He's so smart. He would not even play the game and leave a comment. He's like, you asked me to leave a comment. I was there. Anyways, that is pretty crazy that Dana and Travis are here. And thank you for being here. Thank you to all. Oh, look, she's like, quit talking about me, you idiots.
By the way, and right below that, I'm with Michael, who's going to join us at Pluckers in Grapevine tomorrow. We're doing the Ben and Skin show from 3 to 6. And if Lincoln Park is your jam, we're giving away a pair of Lincoln Park tickets. So tomorrow, join the Ben and Skin show on 97.1 The Eagle, 3 to 6 at the Pluckers in Grapevine.
I do want to say this. We're going to move on from all of this Mavs talk. We want you to watch our Mavs season preview. We put a lot of time, effort, energy in it, slightly biases in it. We got our new podcast with the Mavericks called Poor Spacing, and we interviewed Kyrie, and it went almost 20 minutes. It was seriously an amazing interview. But I'm happy for you that you get to go to the game tonight, first game off the rip. You get to go with your son, and you don't have to work. You just get to watch the game. And I just want to put a pin in this before we move on.
Okay.
If you're building a franchise, if you ask most GMs in the league, let's just say not even you personally, you ask the GMs in the league, you're starting a franchise, would you rather start your franchise right now with Luka, who I think is season 7, Luka,
okay,
or this is Wemby season 2, right?
Uh-huh.
Who would you rather start your franchise with? What do you think most would say?
I think probably 100% would say Wembanyama. And I think that the only concern is sometimes there's a thought that a guy with a frame like that will get hurt. I think it's the same fear with Chet Holmgren, for example. But I think that there will be times where he will be, and I'm talking about in the next 2 years. Like I've jokingly said, if you want an MVP, you better get it now because he's about to go on a run if he stays healthy. And he will also be the defensive player of the year. And that's the reason, like the size. I mean, it's the reason Luka is one of the reasons he's so great. He's got this otherworldly thing too. Like we were talking earlier about the Kobe's and the Michaels and those people. He's got that. I do not know if Wembanyama has that. I really have no idea. So that's an outlier in this conversation. We know that Luka is a gamer. We know this, but Wembanyama will be the best offensive and defensive player in the league for several seasons if he stays healthy. It's just he's so effing good, and he's with one of the 3 greatest coaches of all time shepherding him.
Is this the age-old case of the guy who developed ball handling, point guard skills, and then grew a foot bigger than he thought he was going to be?
I don't know how quickly his height came to him, but I will say also that sort of thing I think is a little bit different than it used to be because we're coaching big players differently than we used to. Mm-hmm. You know, when people always try to compare eras, the thing is like it's such a weird abstract because it was different weight training. It was different coaching, all of those things. If you're sitting here trying to tell me that Hakeem Olajuwon in the modern NBA wouldn't be draining threes and crossing people up, I think you're on crack. I think he's as talented a basketball player as I've ever seen play. He won an NBA championship, and the second best player was who on that team? Horry? Like, what? He was one of the all-time greats, but he grew up in an era where they said, all right, get your back to the basket right now. And he developed the dream shake. So in this era, dude, Olajuwon would be bringing the ball up the floor. And I say all that to say that we just coach big players differently now. And so their skill set, especially coming from Europe, where big players face up, they have to pass, they have to shoot. You have to be a skill player. This is what Nelly envisioned. When everyone talks small ball, they give all the credit to D'Antoni. Nelly was doing it 5 years before D'Antoni was in Phoenix, maybe even sooner than that. But I digress. But having said all that, the Mavericks have a far superior team to the Spurs. I don't even think it's close. And I think Luka is going to be the MVP this year. In fact, I probably need to go put some money on that legally.
Right.
But hey, yeah, I think he's your MVP this year. I really do.
Talk about the Spurs.
Go fuck yourself.
Look at this. Travis Frederick. He's the GOAT.
He is.
I can't believe he didn't win our white guy bracket. He came in second only to Dirk.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's pretty
wow,
good.
shots fired at Dirk.